You like them. They like you. Nothing is technically wrong, and yet your body won't relax. You reread their texts. You analyze the tone shift. You feel a small drop in your stomach when they take longer than usual to reply. You tell yourself you're overthinking, but the tension doesn't leave. Why does closeness feel like something you have to monitor? On the surface, you look calm. You laugh. You respond normally. You say, "It's fine." But inside, you are scanning. Did their voice sound different? Were they slightly distant? Are they pulling away? This hyper-awareness slowly changes how you act. You hold back opinions. You avoid conflict. You try to stay easy. Not because you're fake, but because somewhere inside, your nervous system believes connection is fragile. Psychology calls this attachment anxiety, not in a dramatic way, in a subtle way. It forms when closeness in your past felt inconsistent, warm one moment, withdrawn the next. Your brain learned something simple. Connection can disappear without warning. So now your identity becomes the stabilizer. You try to manage the relationship so it doesn't collapse. But the more you manage it, the less relaxed you feel, and the more exhausted you become. You're not clingy, you're not irrational, you adapted. If you once experienced unpredictability, emotionally distracted parents, mixed signals, sudden coldness, your brain did what brains are designed to do. It optimized for survival. It became vigilant. Vigilance kept you connected, and connection, especially early in life, equals safety. The problem is, your brain doesn't update easily. It still treats modern dating like emotional weather that could turn stormy at any second. Here's what's happening neurologically. Your amygdala, the brain's threat detector, scans for social danger. Not physical danger, social danger. Rejection, withdrawal, disconnection. When it senses uncertainty, it activates your stress response. Cortisol rises. Your thoughts speed up. Your attention narrows. You begin looking for evidence. Think of your nervous system like a smoke alarm that became overly sensitive. It doesn't wait for fire, it reacts to steam. A slightly delayed text becomes, "Something's wrong." A neutral tone becomes, "They're losing interest." Cognitive science calls this confirmation bias. Once your brain predicts abandonment, it selectively gathers proof. Mental model, uncertainty, threat detection, hyperanalysis, temporary relief, more sensitivity. Each time you check, ask, or seek reassurance, your brain gets a small dopamine release, relief, but it also reinforces the loop. You teach your nervous system that scanning is necessary. So the real question becomes, how do you feel safe without constantly checking? Not by forcing calm, but by retraining the alarm system. 1. Separate signal from story. What to do? When triggered, write down the raw fact first, then the story you're adding. Fact, they replied 2 hours later. Story, they're losing interest. Why it works? This activates your prefrontal cortex, the rational regulator, which calms the amygdala. Example, instead of texting again immediately, you pause and label the assumption. The brain shifts from threat mode to evaluation mode. 2. Delay the reassurance reflex. What to do? Wait 20 minutes before seeking reassurance or checking again. Why it works? You interrupt the dopamine-reinforced anxiety loop. Over time, your nervous system learns it can survive uncertainty without action. Example, you resist double texting. The anxiety spikes, then slowly drops. Your body learns no catastrophe occurred. 3. Expose yourself to safe uncertainty. What to do? Intentionally allows small unknowns without resolving them. Why it works? Exposure therapy reduces amygdala reactivity. Repeated safe exposure rewires threat prediction. Example, you let a conversation end naturally instead of forcing extra warmth. Nothing collapses. The brain updates. 4. Communicate without accusation. What to do? Express patterns calmly instead of testing or hinting. Why it works? Secure attachment forms through clear signals, not mind reading. Direct communication reduces cognitive load and hypervigilance. Example, I notice I get anxious with long gaps in communication. It helps me to know where we stand. You replace silent monitoring with transparent connection. Think of your nervous system like a guard dog. It's loyal, it's protective, but it doesn't always know when the house is already safe. You don't silence the dog, you retrain it. Fact versus story. Delay the reflex. Practice uncertainty. Communicate directly. Each time you do, you send one quiet message to your brain. Connection does not require constant surveillance. Relaxation in relationships isn't about trusting blindly. It's about teaching your body that closeness is not an emergency, that silence is not abandonment, that space is not rejection. Over time, the alarm softens, the scanning slows, and something unfamiliar appears. Peace. Not because the relationship is perfect, but because your nervous system finally believes it doesn't have to guard the door all night. And maybe for the first time, you experience connection without bracing for impact.